So this is a tester of a spreadsheet that was developed for GP practices to enable us to collect the information required for cross-checking purposes across the two registers, and it was done to overcome some of the barriers that have been previously discussed, and it is a very simple yet very effective spreadsheet which can be completed in a matter of minutes. And I think this is essential for very busy practices by which they might not have the staff or capacity to enable such procedures to be completed, but also requires a very little knowledge of how to use Excel, and therefore no training would be required to complete this spreadsheet. As this is a tester, these NHS numbers are fictitious. So there are 7 steps to completing this spreadsheet, and the first one is to go to the GP Dementia list. This is at the tab at the bottom. This is where we would expect the inputter to input the data that the GP practices had on dementia patients. So say, for example, this is the information that they had. These are the NHS numbers, all with patients that have been diagnosed have got dementia. So they would copy these numbers over into the given spreadsheet. And the next tab would then be to go on to the over 65. This column here indicates which particular patients were present on both registers, as highlighted in green, and the ones that are in red are those patients that have been identified as not being present on the GP list. We would expect the inputter then to change this cell colour, a different colour, so they can do this by clicking on the paint pot at the top and changing the colour, or they could change the font colour as demonstrated. We would expect the inputter to do this for all red NHS numbers that were not present. The next step would be to go on to the under 65s tab, and these patients are under 65. This particular patient is on both registers, so the inputter wouldn't need to do anything with this information. The last step would be to go back on the GP dementia list and delete these numbers out of the spreadsheet, so that when the spreadsheet is sent, we are not receiving any NHS numbers from the GPs, as this was one of the barriers that the LMC highlighted. They would then send this spreadsheet to me, and that is all that is required from the particular spreadsheet purposes, and from the beginning to the end would take approximately 3 minutes to complete.